Hello and welcome to the EGF Rival Series. My name is Alex Shinkari Erdenberger. I'm here joined today by Peter Moosey Knutson. How are you doing today, Peter?
I'm doing pretty great. Got some exciting gameplay. This is the finals for the Upstate New York EGF series. And we have a Hunter matchup against what looks like a mid-range Elemental Shaman.
Yep. So who do you think is favored in this matchup? It should be a fairly even both sides, right? Two mid-range decks kind of fighting for the board.
Well, I'm not too familiar with this matchup, being these two decks are not the most popular at the moment. Though I would give it to the Shaman because they have a lot of board clears to deal with the Hunter sticky boards. Plus, they have heals to counteract that hero power that the Hunter tries to weave in whenever they can.
Right. I mean, I would probably give it to the Hunter here just because I have played this deck, and being able to get off the ground a lot earlier than your opponent is definitely very important to a deck that wants to be getting in chip damage, that wants to be getting slowly building up big advantages. And right now we're seeing one of the big clinchments of this deck, the Scavenging Hyena. This thing just gets huge and out of control very quickly, especially with how many beasts you're running in the deck. Cackling Razor Maw, Kindly Grandmother gives you 2 beasts. Jeweled Macaw gives you 2 beasts. Like, there's just so much value in this deck, and forcing your opponent, like, especially against this Tar Creeper that's going to come down.
Right.
Like, he plays the Scavenging Hyena. This thing gets huge. Like, and then how do you respond to that? Like, he has to use a Jade Lightning against that in order to kill it.
Yeah. What's really good about the Hunter is it can get off to some explosive starts if it draws the correct hand. Like, if it drops that Hyena early and is able to build that up, it's pretty impossible to stop without a Hex from the Shaman side. So this Tar Creeper here might put a slow to the Hunter's game plan. He's going to be forced to play Kill Command or trade his minions in. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. He could also play the Hyena and start buffing that up, but that's kind of greedy. Loses to Jade Lightning or the Hex from the Shaman side.
Yeah, I think he coins out Jeweled Macaw here. It gives him the opportunity to pick up a card to play on turn 4 that's better than Scavenging Hyena and Kindly Grandmother.
Right.
Just pick up a Rat Pack with it. Just definitely a very powerful play here.
So we're likely to see the on-curve play of the Tolvir Stone Shaper. Another option is to high roll spell power, but that's pretty risky, though it would have a huge payoff by clearing the entire board.
Yeah. I think the good thing about the Tolvir Stone Shaper here is that Charos doesn't really have anything in his hand to say, like, okay, I don't really want to give up elemental synergy here in order to play the Tolvir. But I think it's worth it, especially because even if he does break the synergy, right? Like, sure, he can't play Servant of Kalamos on curve next turn, right? And that might slow down his tempo just a little bit, right? But it's going to be really hard for Yosei in order to get past a 3/5 Divine Shield. Like, he has to trade all of his minions, and then the Tolvir Stone Shaper is still there.
Yeah, it's something really awkward for the Hunter to deal with it if it doesn't have tokens on board, which the one token it had got cleared, so it's going to be interesting to see how this gets handled by the Hunter.
And it looks like he's just going to go for the Alley Cat here. He's going to pop the bubble. That is definitely interesting here. So
yeah, it's kind of a bad feeling to have to trade your 3/2 into just a Divine Shield and have it die. This is really good with Maelstrom Portal here. He could clear the entire board.
There is a great play here, and it's kill the Rat Pack, play the element, the Maelstrom Portal, and then heal the Tolvir Stone Shaper with the Hot Spring Guardian.
Is he doing it in the wrong order? Oh, wait, no, it doesn't matter because the Fiery Bat doesn't get popped.
Yep. And there's the Maelstrom Portal. Let's see what 1-drop he gets.
Patches, and that clears.
Oh, no! That is one of the worst things for Yosei to see here. He's now sitting at 5 mana and with nothing to play. This is a super awkward turn for him. If he just plays the Kindly Grandmother and just hero powers the face.
Yeah, so he's lost the board, and at this point, the Hunter is usually thinking, okay, I need to keep hero powering every turn, get that burn in, and hopefully get there somehow. but with the heals from the Shaman side, it's going to be very difficult, especially when the Shaman also plays strong minions on curve, like a Fire Elemental.
Yeah.
That's really difficult for anyone to deal with, especially Hunter with no board clears.
Mm-hmm. Savannah Highmane now being the play here, but with a Lightning Storm sitting in hand, Jaros can just be like, yeah, you can just trade your 6/5 into my taunts all you want. The second that breaks,
with the pickup of the Bloodlust here, you might want to start pushing face if that's not lethal. It might be.
Oh,
count.
It might be.
Cast your
12,
math.
15 plus 9 is 24, so he's 2 off.
Yeah.
But I think
interesting to see he goes for it this turn.
I think he's just safe in doing it because Hunter doesn't have any heals anyway. So
Right.
he's just setting it lethal for next turn with that Jade Lightning.
Yeah, even if the board somehow gets cleared, there's no way the Hunter could heal out of range of the Jade Lightning.
Yep. And we're looking at Yosei's hand right now, and he's holding on to a lot of things, but not a lot of them are very useful right now. Galaka Crawler surprisingly bad against a deck that doesn't run any pirates. And his best defensive option here is to Houndmaster the Savannah Highmane, but that still gets damage through. You just put
it's just
even
not enough.
with the board. Fire Elemental just trades with it, and Lightning Storm's just a BM play at that point.
So it looks like the concede here for Mage and Druid. And in my experience, Druid is really good against Hunter. So you might want to save that until Mage is the last deck coming out from Champlain to pick up that easy win with the Hunter. That's how I would do it. But
right. So interesting to come out from Yosei here. I was expecting a Zoo Warlock, but it looks like he's playing Handlock?
Yeah, pretty interesting choice
Oh,
here.
wow, yeah.
Mountain Giant's good in your opening hand, too. And 2 mana, 4/5 is also really strong. He has double Mountain. This is going to be a strong play if Druid can't get off to an explosive start, but it looks like he just might make it with the Blood Cell Corsair pulling in patches, plus the 2/1/1 buff AoE on his board. So
that's
let's
a 2/3,
see.
2/1, and a 2/2 on turn 1.
Right.
All right. And it really depends. Like, Yosei could have... Yosei could top deck maybe a Galaka Crawler. He doesn't have a whole lot of healing in his opening hand. We did see a Cult Apothecary in the beginning there, but he did mulligan it away for favor of now a Spellbinder and a Mountain Giant. It's just that I don't know if both of these Mountain Giants are going to be coming down fairly early in this game. Like, I don't think Yosei wants to.
It's a little bit too slow for this matchup. So it's likely that the Handlock plays Galaka Crawler. It's usually a decent tech choice in a deck similar to this. So if he's able to pick one up, that puts him in a good spot. But if he can't pick up a Galaka Crawler or any AoE, he's likely to just get blown out before he could even start playing these Mountain Giants.
Right. So the question is, does he play Ancient Watcher here or does he tap? And I think the answer is to life tap here, because if you play the Ancient Watcher, okay, he's going for it. The reason I don't like this play is that you're basically gambling that your next turn is going to be a Sunfire Protector, right?
I think by doing that, he's thinking about the Spellbreaker play on turn 4 to get the 4/5 to trade into some of the minions, help him gain tempo that way. Because if he's tapping, like, he needs to hit an answer or he's dead. He'd rather be proactive on the board, and if he doesn't get blown out completely early game, then he has a pretty strong chance to come back.
Right. We see 2 Galaka Crawlers in Karos's hand right now. He's going to use Power of the Wild to make a 3/2. Definitely a very strong play at this point of the game. At what point do you use Galaka Crawler on your own minions?
He's not in desperate need of tempo right now, so I don't think it would be a smart play.
Right.
Plus, there was just better plays there on curve with the 3/2. So we're likely to see the Egg Napper come down, play on curve, especially because it's not likely that the Warlock has AoE at this point. It's usually more late game AoE. So the Mark of the Lotus is probably going to get a lot of value next turn. That's a really good
Here's another
pickup.
question. Do you play the Defender of Argus, or do you play the Spellbreaker?
I think you'd rather play the Spellbreaker. That way you could potentially Argus on 2 targets.
Right.
So,
And I think you go for the trade on the 3/2 here, right? That has to be the
right.
play.
You just want to clear off as much power as possible. Keep yourself alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. But it's one thing I would like to touch on. Don't you think it's a little messed up that the race of people that lays eggs, this guy seems to like omelets? Don't you think that's a little messed up? Egg Napper's play sound is, I love omelets, but turtles lay eggs. How messed up is that?
I mean, it doesn't have to be the turtle's eggs.
I mean, yeah, but what happens when you just can't find raptor eggs? Like, what happens? It's like, oh man, I really want an omelet.
That's a good point.
Why don't we go
sure
visit Craig? Oh, no. We're not going to go visit Craig's house.
Okay, so he goes with the Spellbreaker play, tries to get as much pressure on board as he can.
Mm-hmm.
But this Mark of the Lotus might be pretty strong here.
Yeah.
Mark of the Lotus. He trades the Egg Napper first. That's just 4/4 for 1 mana.
Mm-hmm.
He'd even play the War Leader first.
Mm-hmm. It's just the War Leader. Just the War Leader draws has to be the most upsetting thing to see. Like if he doesn't draw a Bluegill Warrior, then maybe it turns out okay. But it seems to me like you never actually want to draw your Murloc War Leaders. You just want to see them in your deck. You just want them to be pulled out by Finja.
So it looks like he missed a 1/1 buff if he wants to play the War Leader.
Yeah.
What he was hovering over that, so I think he realizes, whoops, he made the wrong play.
Oopsie poopsie.
Probably shouldn't be that big a deal. With the way he's currently just rolling over the handlock.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Yosei does have a decent tempo play if the War Leader isn't played. With the War Leader is played, so Doomsayer probably not going to be played off this turn. Shadow Flame being picked up, so not that great according to his hand here. I think you just play the Doomsayer and just try to heal up for 7.
Yeah, it's definitely the play. You might also need to tap in order to draw something to target with this Shadow Flame.
Yeah, because at this point, like his best play as of right now is to wait to turn 8 to board wipe, and at that point, like you're just dead. Like it doesn't even matter anymore.
Right.
This Druid probably still has Bittertide Hydra. He still has Finja. He still has his Bluegill War Leaders. There's still lots of threats in Charos' deck that he has to worry about. All right, he's going to go for the Spellbreaker.
So interesting he chooses the War Leader. He's afraid of a Bluegill being played. Although silencing one of the other minions would have immediately taken off 1/1 worth of stats.
Right. And he is hovering over that other Murloc War Leader in his hand, being like, "Oh yeah, that's a cool silence. Wouldn't it be a shame if I had another one?"
Right. Effectively took off 1 more damage by that spot from the handlock there.
Yep.
So a pretty awkward play because he doesn't really have anything specifically that is in his hand that's really valuable. Like the Living Mana doesn't get full value if he plays it with the full board. Right. The War Leader doesn't get the buff anymore. So actually the 1 War Leader does because it doesn't lose its Murloc tag, but the other shouldn't. I believe that's how it works.
Yep. And I think Charos is just going to take the read here that Yosei doesn't have any AoE in his hand. Like he should try to play around Shadow Flame. Like that is a reasonable play to be making, and that's definitely what he's doing here with all these face hits. Like if he's probably going to try to get the most out of his minions as he can, but
yeah. So he's just setting Yosei as low as possible, saying you have to either have the Hellfire or whatever, or you're just dead.
Right.
Because that's his only out at this point.
So the play here is, do you play Doomsayer after the Shadow Flame just to tempo out your opponent and basically stall out for another turn to hopefully look for healing, look for just something to stabilize this board?
Yeah, I think I think Doomsayer has to be the play.
Yeah. So. The only problem is that you put your giants up to 7. and then you spend your turn 7 just playing just a Mountain Giant. Whereas, it could be done doing multiple things, but you just can't leave this board the way it is.
Right. You can't risk another turn of the Druid building up their board, especially with 3 more cards in hand, plus whatever he draws next turn. It's likely he has something like a Living Mana sitting in his hand.
Yeah. So. Like, especially after a board wipe, you have to play Living Mana, right?
Right, but this Doomsayer completely shuts it down. Smart play from Yosei there.
Yeah. What's good is that Charos is already used a decent number of his charge minions. Like, the only real charge minion left in his deck... Ooh, there's a Jiraxis. The only real charge minion left in his deck is that... are those Bluegill Warriors. So that is something Yosei is going to have to watch out for. Savage Roar being picked up.
So it's going to be interesting to see if he chooses the Living Mana here to get that Savage Roar next turn. It's most likely to play. Really the only thing you see. He might miss the hero power here. No, he is aware of the interaction where the Living Mana takes empty crystals, not just full ones. So he makes sure to get that 1 extra damage in.
Yep. Make sure to remember that, kids. It also takes your empty mana crystals as well. So don't miss that 1 damage. But this is a really great play. Like, a lot of people would look at that and just be like, well, I don't have, a lot of people won't make that play. Right? Like, maybe they'd be like, okay, well, I have 7 2/2s on the board, but being able to taunt up like 2 things here is really good. And on top of that, like, Charos is still holding on to the coin and an Innervate in hand. So he can just throw away all of his mana and just be like, okay, coin, Innervate, Savage Roar.
Right. Of
course, he doesn't have to coin because he does get the 1 mana next turn, but it's still he still has plenty of mana in order to hit that Savage Roar.
So it's interesting to see Gluttonous Ooze tech here. I believe Charos actually has one in one of his decks, or it might have been Cornell from yesterday. But they chose to ban Pirate Warrior, which makes me wonder why they have the Ooze. Being it's just a 3 mana 3/3 at that point.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, like, people would argue, well, you're still going up against a lot of weapon classes anyway, right? Like, Hunter is still very much a threat, and Shaman is still very much a threat, and people say, like, oh, well, Rogue is also a deck as well, and ooh, hold on, we're going face.
Yeah, this should be game here with the Savage Roar.
Yeah, that seems like an incredibly greedy play. Like, taking 4 damage off the board.
Well, the reason he did that was because he knows that Charos has the coin in hand, so if he kills just one of the minions, that means Charos could coin out the Savage Roar and not be required to actually play the Innervate. So if there was no Innervate in hand, then it was guaranteed.
So if you are Yosei, how do you plan on taking a reverse sweep here? What is your plan to get around this?
Well, I would say Hunter is probably the best matchup against this mage because the hero power is really good against popping ice blocks. So that's what they're likely to queue first, just get that easy win in. But then again, some players might feel it's better to go with the hardest matchup first, which is probably the handlock. Being handlocked does not really do much, and tapping really puts you in range of that burn from the freeze mage decks. So let's see what they choose to do, whether they want to get an easy win or if they want to be like, okay, we're going to play our hardest deck first, and if we can do that, we can win it all.
All right. We do need to spectate a new person, so it's just 1 moment. All right, so it is going to be that Quest Rogue against the Freeze Mage. Oh, I am going to see the Quest cards, Quest Rogue cards in a second, or I'm not going to. Hold on. I would love to commentate on this if I can just really quickly just fix spectator mode.
Right.
Oh, I have to stop spectating altogether. Isn't that annoying?
I think I just got the same bug.
Great. Casters are currently indisposed, but you guys can still watch the game as our beautiful viewer is doing a good job of. All right, I'm now watching. I now have both hands in front of me. Is going to be the Freeze Mage against the quest rogue. And this looks like a more standard quest rogue than what we've seen. You know, this is definitely in on the flame elemental plan. Those little token guys that you just get a bunch in your hand and you just fling them all at once. And it's definitely really good for Yosei here. Right here, like he can play the Firefly, get the token, kill off his elemental, and just shadow step one of the elementals back to his hand, and he has just an immediate activation of that quest.
I'm finally able to look at Yosei's hand.
Yeah.
So he's got the Vanish, so he's playing a kind of slower build. It's really good against clearing boards when like they get too flooded on your opponent's side. Helps you keep it clear, and usually ends up burning a few cards. The Shadow Step in hand is really good, especially with the double deckhand. So he only needs one more Shadow Step or bounce effect in order to get that quest done. So.
All right, so Firefly looking to be hovered here. I think the big problem right here for Yosei is that he doesn't really have any way to kill off his elemental on board. And I think that's the big thing right here. And Jagman just played Cabal Courier and picked up a mirror image, so trying to kill off that elemental is just going to be even harder. And I think Jagman is in a decent position with his deck that he can just ignore it. Yeah. It should also be noted that he did ignore the Mass Dispel in order to get the mirror images instead, and I think that's definitely a much better play here because he can run 2 Mana Worms and play mirror image and start pressuring Yosei's life total more so than Yosei can get pressure on Jagman with his quest.
Right. So we might see the double Mana Worm plus the mirror's image. Kind of puts 2 really high priority minions behind 2 taunts, which is really awkward for the rogue to deal with unless he has a prep Vanish is the only real clean answer to that. So that'll just let Jagman get a lot of pressure on board and push damage soon. So looks like what we're going to see here.
I mean, the other line of play is that Yosei could, and this is a could here, he could just play both of his deck hands and then kill off the taunts and then try and kill off his elemental.
Right.
And that's really one of the few ways he can get that those flame elementals into his hand. The only problem is that he has to get rid of 2 chargers in order to do so.
He actually just picked up the second Firefly, which basically guarantees the quest to be finished.
No, that's 3 flame elementals, right? He hasn't played one yet.
That's 2 from Fireflies and 2 from Igneous Elemental.
Well, the Igneous Elemental has to die first. We need to get there first, Lucy.
I mean, it's not hard to kill it.
Yeah.
It could die this turn.
Ooh, Patches. Hey, how you doing?
So it looks like he's going to clear off this Mana Worm with the Patches.
That seems like the best line of play.
But that's a little bit awkward because now he played 2 of his Chargers, which he wants as 5/5s in the late game. Looks like he might go and complete the quest this turn so he could play it on turn 5, get all his 5/5s with whatever sticks on board for the turn.
All right, there's the second flame elemental, and he
chooses not to play the Shadow Step to not alert Jagman as he has the cards he needs to finish the quest. So
right, but don't you take the read that he does? Like
you're likely to, but I mean, it might not be as priority to say ping a 2/1 as to develop whatever else you want to play that turn.
I mean, I feel like the play is still to trade your Cabal Courier in and kill one of these flame elementals.
Right.
And maybe Frostbolt the other one. Like, because you can still develop Ice Block in that turn if you choose to, right?
Yeah, I like Worm Frostbolt ping. So clear as much of the board as possible, develop your own minion.
Right.
Makes it a little bit awkward for the rogue here. So I think killing both flame elementals is better than killing the deckhands, just because the flame elemental is the one that's likely to have the quest complete.
Right. Maybe, okay, he's going to go ahead and ping one of the 2/1s. He's going to trade away the 2/1s here. I mean, I definitely agree with him because if Yosei finds another bounce, then those South Sea deckhands can become 5/5s with charge the second they come in. And there's a Gadgets and Ferryman.
So yeah, the quest definitely gets completed, but he doesn't have the mana to play everything this turn.
Right. So do you take a value trade on the Mana Worm here? Like you have to, right?
Yeah, you trade both your 1/1s in and then bounce one of them.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of like the hidden power of a Flame Elemental. Because they, like, I think I've talked about this a few times, because they have that awkward 2 HP, they're able to trade with minions that have that 1 attack and are able to get that value that way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he chooses to bounce back the Firefly because he has the extra mana this turn, and it just develops one more 1 mana 5/5 in his hand.
Yep.
Overall.
It puts Doom 1 mana 5/5s in his hand because he still gets to get the Battle Cry as well.
Right.
And I think he just finishes the quest here, yeah? Okay.
Didn't really matter which one he played, but
yep. All right.
Did he bounce it before he traded? That was.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he bounced the Firefly instead. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, looking at Jagman's hand, he does have double ice block, so he should be fine for a good amount of time. But he needs something else to help develop this board here.
Yeah,
like,
he needs to.
Crossbow comes and hits the 2/3 and pings one of the 1/1s, but you know there's still 5/5s on the board. Like you can't just play ice block and hope that you live.
I mean, like the way his current hand is, like, he has no burn in hand, so he might want to save this Frostbolt for face.
Right.
Especially if he could start getting Yosei low enough.
Oh, that's a Stone Tusk Boar.
And that's probably the best pickup in the deck.
Yeah.
So we're likely to see the quest come down, 5 damage.
That's going to immediately pop the block.
Yeah, with the Shadow Step, that's exactly 30.
Yeah. So. See, I'm good at spotting lethal. except in my own games, apparently. All right, so he's going to opt for the Firefly instead. That's interesting.
He chooses not to pop the block this turn, which, I mean, with Caster Vision, we could see that popping the block would have been really bad because there's no way Jagman could survive after both ice blocks are gone. There's just nothing in his hand to finish off Yosei and nothing to stall.
Yeah, and taking a look at Jagman's hand once again, there's that Gluttonous Ooze that we keep talking about that card is like, why are we banning away pirates when we have, a direct counter to their deck in our decks?
Yeah, at this point where you're banning pirates, you might as well just play Glockacrawler because more decks play pirates than a weapon.
Use weapons, yeah. And even if he is able to kill like a rogue weapon, or even like a Jade Claws, I guess. Like, you're not really getting a whole lot of armor off of that. Like, you're getting armor equal to the...
It's 1 to 2 armor, so...
Yeah.
I think a 2 mana 3/4 is just better than 3 mana 3/3 gain 2.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these decks, you're running pirates themselves, too. Like, there are a lot of decks that run pirates for their own deck list.
Right.
And, see, this is just a 3 mana 3/3. Not doing a whole lot.
So it looks like he's just going with the burn plan because that's all he really can do at this point.
All right.
And we're going to see the block get popped here, probably trade off with the board. And, I mean, Jagman's just in the position where he needs to find something where he's just dead.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Medivh is going to come in. I don't think Medivh is going to be played this turn. Jagman has to look for a board clear or something. I don't think
he picks up Pyroblast. So that's really good if he could stall at least one more turn, but he would need a Primordial Glyph or something into another ice block.
Mm-hmm.
He'll just never have the time to actually make it to play the Pyroblast.
Well, he's going to need a Fireball. He's going to need a Fireball, Primordial Glyph, something. Oh, no, not a Fireball. Excuse me.
He can draw Primordial Glyph into Ice Block, play the Arcane Missiles, and have 2 hit face. Right. And that's his out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's his only out.
It has to be. All right, let's see what he got. Medivh's Valet.
And that's just game.
Yeah, that's game. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything here. Jagman does go for the greater arcane missiles.
See,
like, well, I can do something. Might as well play to my outs.
yeah.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
not enough power.
And looks like that's going to be right.
He wants to make this a 3-2 match.
Yeah.
So Gluttonous Zeus is really good because Yosei plays the Eaglehorn bow, but Jagman didn't actually see the bow come down on the first game, so he might not be too sure if that's actually in the deck because a few lists decide to omit it.
And looks like Jagman is still hovering over his mulligans just for now.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how much he actually mulliganed because last game he had the issue where he kept all his early game and ended up not drawing his draw cards. He couldn't cycle at all. So he doesn't want to be in that position again. But he chose to keep 2 of his 1-drops to kind of hold off the pressure with 1/1s to trade into the minions.
Yep.
And looks like he has a lot of early game in hand.
I think you go for the Babbling Book here and just, trade with the 2/1 and then play your Mana Worm next. Firelands Portal. That's definitely a decent card to have.
Yeah, it deals 5 damage.
Yep, it definitely kills Savannah Highmane and gives you a 5-mana. It gives you a 5-mana card that could have Taunt.
In this matchup, you're more looking to send that base than to trade with it.
Okay.
So he takes the free trade there and drops the Cabal Courier, probably looking for more burn.
Okay, he finds another Arcane Intellect, and that's definitely something good to see.
Make sure he doesn't run out of cycle like last game.
Yep. So I think... So do you play the Rat Pack here, or do you play the Knife Juggler and the Jeweled Macaw?
I like Juggler and then trading into the 2/2 to kill it.
Okay.
Which is a 75% chance. Might go horribly wrong, but we'll see.
Yep. So the play is Knife Juggler, trade in your 1/1.
You probably play the 1/1 first.
Really? Okay.
Because if it hits, then you're not worried at all about having to miss
Jeweled
that.
Macaw. Where's that juggle going? Oh.
Okay.
Right, here we go. Round 2.
50-50.
Round 2. Here we go. Take the second 50-50. Here we go. One time. Oh.
That's really bad for him because now the juggler dies for free.
Yep. And he also didn't get the best of beasts off of the Jeweled Macaw. Lots of people talk about how outdated Silverback Patriarch is and how many times Blizzard has printed cards that are strictly better than Silverback Patriarch.
Yeah, this is just not going great for Yosei. He's not getting good RNG at all. Missing his a 75% chance to kill the minion, causing his 2-drop to die for free. And then he picks up one of the worst beasts in the game.
Yeah. Whoa, it follows it up with one of the best beasts in the game. How you doing, Kylie Grandmother? Definitely not one of the better minions to be seeing in this board position. Rat Pack definitely better in helping push that board advantage. But definitely still a very strong pickup.
So it looks like Jagman's hand's really shaping up here. He's starting to draw his burn. He's starting to draw his stall with the double ice block. Right. If he could draw into something like a Doomsayer and a Blizzard here, those are probably the 2 cards he's really looking for the most. We're likely to see him Arcane Intellect again and probably drop the Mana Worm with it. So he's taking his time. He's not too sure what he wants to do. If he wants to develop an Ice Block, draw, or what minion he wants to play, because he can play either the Worm or the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I mean, playing the Mana Worm is a fairly low-value minion. Like, it's not low value, but low importance. Like, you don't absolutely need the Mana Worm in order to win the game.
Yeah,
but,
it's kind of just something to deal with aggro decks.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Nesting. This card is so good.
Not necessarily in this matchup, but I mean, it's still a 4/7. Not bad, especially with his current hand. Playing on curve is usually just really strong in pushing damage. So interesting to see he trades his Rat Pack because that makes him more likely to lose the game to something like a Blizzard.
Yeah.
Though that is one more turn away, so he might not be too worried about that at the moment.
I mean, it's also interesting that he didn't trade away the 3/2 because, you know, there's still the same amount of damage on board, right?
Right.
And it makes you a little bit less weak to like a Blizzard, like you said.
Yeah, I would have opted for trading the 3/2 there, but...
Yeah. All right, so it looks like Ice Block and Medivh's Valet is the play here. He's probably going to get rid of that 3/2.
Very solid play here.
Yeah.
He's picked up Alex, which will help him with the burn problem. He only needs to play a Firelance Portal and a Pyroblast to finish off the Hunter at that point. He just needs to survive long enough to get to that point, which he's still lacking his freeze effects. I'm not sure if he cut them for his Mana Worms and Sorcerer's Apprentices, but it looks like he's just not drawing them at all.
I mean, luckily for him, like Yosei's random effects and his draws have been pretty low power so far. I mean, that Rat Pack is definitely very good, and that top deck Nesting Rock is definitely very strong in terms of just an overall very strong card. But like a 4/7 taunt is just a thing with the big butt. You know, Jackman isn't really going to be attacking you with his Medivh's Valet anytime soon.
Yeah, you'd rather have a 7/4 in this matchup.
Yeah. And Yosei's just going to go ahead and just windmill slam just all of his minions here. All right, that gluttonous ooze again. All right.
Yeah, we're likely to see the Ice Barrier come down with the Archaeologist play.
All right, there is the Ice Barrier. Now, do you develop the Sorcerer's Apprentice here, or?
At this point, it doesn't matter. The Sorcerer's Apprentice is not going to get much value at all for the rest of this game. You just want to make sure you get this barrier down. Playing the Sorcerer's Apprentice doesn't really change anything.
Right.
So.
Now, is there a world where you don't play the Ice Barrier and you just like ping and do something else instead?
Not playing the Ice Barrier would mean you're going to get popped pretty much 100%.
Right.
So it's very likely we'll see the barrier come down to protect him here.
Okay. Just trying to weed out any other decisions that Yosei could possibly make here. All right. Yeah. Eagle Horn Bow being picked up.
He has the Ooze in hand, so he'll gain 3 armor.
Yeah. That's definitely really good. He'll finally get value off of his Gluttonous Ooze. But, you know, once again, we're taking a look at Yosei's hand, and a lot of things are very low power. This Eagle Horn Bow going to come out and try to pop that secret there.
Is that enough damage to pop block with the kill command in hand?
Maybe. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, down to 8.
Oh, looks like it's just enough.
Yep.
He did mess up a little bit, not starting to 1. The wrong order of trades, but...
I mean, he didn't have the mana, right? He only had 7?
Well, no, he could have traded his 1/1s last.
Oh, traded his 1/1s last. Okay.
So
I guess he was playing around Vaporize with the 1/1 attacking first. You know,
well, you can swing the weapon first.
Right. But even then, that doesn't proc the Vaporize. You still need to proc the Vaporize, yeah?
Well, yeah, but you, as long as you make sure you play the 1/1 last, or hit with one of the 1/1s last because he has 4 on board.
These are 3 definitely interesting cards. What do you think you take here?
I think Mind Blast. It's a good card if it was in Freeze Mage.
Yep. I mean, the other thing is that Bane of Doom could give him like a really, really sweet demon, and it also removes something on board as well.
At this point, you don't care about board, though.
Sweet BM play of killing your opponent with the Bane of Doom and summoning a demon. I doubt he's going to do that, though. He is going to go for the Molten Reflection. He's going to develop the Ice Block here. And
is he trying to go Exodia with the Molten Reflection?
Maybe. Who knows?
So, I mean, he gets popped and his board gets completely cleared here. There's nothing much he can do about it.
Unleash the Hounds being picked up from Yosei here. I think it's just hero power and trade off the board and just have your kindly grandmother pop the block.
Right.
Trade away your 1/1s, play Unleash the Hounds and kill and finish off the rest of their HP, yeah?
Yeah, that would probably be the best play here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he's going to opt for the weapon to prop the block. Although I don't know.
You should never use the weapon. He
Okay.
hits with the macaw.
Yep.
It doesn't really make a difference. It looks like he wants to get the grandmother popped by doing that, I would think.
Okay. Well, once again, these Rat Pack trades are making him still very weak to Blizzard. I guess he's taking the read that Jagman doesn't have any of those board wipes in his hand, especially because he just hasn't played them. You know,
Right.
A lot of the things about Magic that we talk about in Magic the Gathering, like if your opponent has the removal, he would have played it, and if he doesn't have it, he doesn't play it, especially against a board like this.
And he picks up the removal, but it's just too late.
Yeah, it's just you'd have to remove the entire board and I don't know, Reno Jackson.
Yeah, if he had 10 mana, then it would be enough with the Flame Strike plus Gluttonous Ooze, but with the current state of the game, he just has to concede. There's no way for him to win that game. All right, so Alex went AFK real quick, so I guess I'm just solo casting this one. It will be the Handlock versus the Freeze Mage, for the third time in a row, the Mana Worm in hand. Really good early pressure, but it just wasn't enough against those aggro decks the last time. Gonna be interesting to see if he decides to keep the Courier and the Intellect for more cycle / drawing with the Discover effect. On the side of the Handlock, there's the Mountain Giant, which is very strong against the Freeze Mage. Just 8 damage each turn, something that they really can't deal with. And the Earthen Ring Farseer is also good. Heal really protects you against the burn that's going to come out from the Freeze Mage. But again, the Handlock is very unfavored in this matchup, so it's going to be difficult for them to find the win here unless they really run into a miracle. So this is one of the big attractions to Handlock with this new card, the Humongous Razor Leaf. It's a 3-mana 4/8 that can attack, similar to Ancient Watcher. And it's just like a big body that once it gets taunted or silenced, it's really good for trades and stopping that early aggression from aggro decks. So that's not what Jagman is playing. He's playing Freeze Mage, which doesn't really care about taunts. He just goes straight through it to face, and there's nothing that you could do against that.
All right, 3 great cards being picked up by Jagman here. What do you go for here? Like even Karakazam looks pretty good here.
I'm not too sure. Maybe the silence to deal with a faceless shambler.
Like maybe, but even there. But you didn't see that come out in the first game, right?
Yeah, but it's a common card you see in Handlock, so I wouldn't doubt if it's in the deck.
Right,
Yep,
so
to
the end is coming.
Doomsayer to deal with the 2 minions on board, which is a strong play. Isn't on curve like the Razor Leaf would be, but he really wants to deal with this board early. Make sure it doesn't get out of hand where it just clears the Razor Leaf with really no way for the Freeze Mage to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. And he also might be saving the Razor Leaf for a Sun Fury Protector turn, maybe.
Right.
You know.
We're likely to see just a draw here, and then let the Doomsayer go off.
Mm-hmm. Now the question is, like, do you play an Arcanologist and just get the secret, or do you? That's Arcane Intellect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not on curve, but it saves the 2/3 in the end.
Yep.
And pushes 1 more damage.
And he was lucky enough to pick up his Ice Block, so it's definitely good enough. Twilight Drake. Oh, that has to be the play. Oh no, you have a.
Now you have Mountain Giant, so you obviously play that. It's just too strong not to.
Yeah. Like, your opponent will have to Fireball or Polymorph, but we've seen I think Yosei has seen enough of Jagman's deck to probably take the read that he doesn't run Polymorph.
Right. So, I mean, Jagman picked up all of his burn. He has double Fireball and a Firelance Portal, and that should pretty much be enough just to finish off this game if he has time to play them all.
Mm-hmm. Karakazam now being played by Jagman here on curve. There's not a whole lot of other great options for him to do. Like, it doesn't need to develop the Ice Block so soon. And, playing an Arcanologist and developing the Ice Block isn't as powerful as making a 1, 2, and 3 drop.
Right. Next turn, we're likely to see the double 2 drop plus a secret being played.
Yeah.
unless he decides to fireball the mountain giant, but I don't see that happening because just you don't want to waste your burn on that.
Ooh.
You want to outlast it.
Right. Right, and it's turn 5, and he's taken 9 to the face. This is my favorite part about Handlock. Just you get to just play big dudes really early on. Sure, it's definitely a little greedy, but just listening to that wham sound on turn 5 and watching -9 is just great. It's just A+. All right, now we have to see how Jackman is going to respond to this. Babbling Book and hope for a polymorph?
I think you just ignore the 9/9 here.
Really?
Mirror's Image is a good answer. So
yeah, that's definitely a very, very good answer here.
Looks like he's going wide on board.
Yep.
With the Sorcerer Apprentice and the Arcanologists are likely to come down.
Ooh, he
chooses to use his burn.
Yeah, that's definitely very interesting. I guess he sees that he has minions on board that he can value just doing chip damage.
Right.
I think the other thing to note is that Yosei
by doing that, he's saying his board will do more damage than a fireball will. Which I mean, Handlock does play a lot of board clears and a lot of taunts, so that might be a little bit questionable. But we'll see how it turns out. Currently, there's no real answer on the side of the Warlock. So
right. Another Ancient Watcher being picked up. This is one of the downfalls of the Handlock deck. We see 2 Ancient Watchers and 1 Humongous Razor Leaf, and there is no Defender of Argus. There's no Sun Fury Protector, and you know he does have that Elise in hand. But like there's so many great minions that would be great if they had a taunt, but there's no taunt enablers here. So it's just holding on to 3 cards that basically just do nothing. All right, Jagman is going to pick up another Frostbolt here. More burn damage.
I think at this point you just go face with all your cards.
Yeah.
Drop that Firelands Portal face.
Yeah, like a lot of these cards, like a lot of the minions that Yosei have, like you don't really need to be worried about, especially because you're behind an O2. He's not going to be going face with any of these anytime soon, so you don't really have to remove them. And you're going to get the value out of these minions just by going face.
Yeah, with the loss of Power Overwhelming and Emperor, there's no real threat of combo coming out from the Warlock, so you're not afraid of burst damage. You could just really play pretty greedy, go as much face as you want, and you're not likely to get punished.
Yeah, we discussed this the last time we saw Jagman play. Like he's playing the Medivh version of this deck, which is definitely very, very good at matching the outvaluing of the Lord Jaraxxus in this matchup.
Right.
Yeah. And
not a great 5-drop, but I mean he's still in range of Fireball next turn.
Yeah.
If anything on the sport sticks.
All right, so Spellbreaker going to be picked up here. At most, he's going to have to. I don't see his out here because if he taps, he's.
This is looking like game.
Yeah. So if he plays the Spellbreaker, he silences the O2 taunt. He removes the 4/4, the 2/2, and the 3/2, and his opponent still has 1/1 Fireball Ping.
Book Ping, yeah.
Yeah.
So looks like he needs to either tap into something incredible or it's just game.
I think we saw a Cult Apothecary early on in this matchup.
That
even if he finds an Earthen Ring Farseer, he might be able to. He just needs to find some healing. That's what he needs to find.
So either I think tap into Cult Apothecary is the only out.
He's gonna play Spellbreaker.
Okay. He's saying his opponent doesn't have Fireball, and if he does, then it's just game anyway.
Yeah. He's going to run out the Humongous Razor Leaf here. But tough story. Yeah, there's a Fireball in his hand. There's the 1 damage. There's the ping. There's the Fireball.
So after losing 2 games, Champlain will finally take the win with their Freeze Mage. And they are the champions of the Upstate New York EGF competition.